Tomorrow night, it will get buck wild up in here.
I don't recall ever in the history of this show, almost 6 years, ever being asked so many times in the span of 2-3 days for a particular guest to be on this show. When the news came out Tuesday morning, when it was officially announced, I was flooded with requests to have our next guest on, and thankfully, I had to bug him a little bit, but thankfully he obliged. I cannot wait to talk to him. Of course, I'm talking about the one and only, the incomparable Burt Watson, who joins us right now on the phone. Burt, how are you?
Oh, I'm trying to make it, baby. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. It is so great to hear your voice, and thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you asking me. You didn't have to bug me or chase me, but I appreciate you asking me, baby.
A lot of people want to hear from you. I know that you know this, so let's get right into it. You announced it on Tuesday. You officially announced it. There were some rumors a couple of days before, but you are no longer working with the UFC. Why is that?
Well, let me first of all say to you, and you've always been right at it, baby. I mean, let's go.
Let's go. Let's not beat around the bush.
I gotta honestly say that I am totally overwhelmed by the response of the media, of the fans, what has become my fans, which I'm blown away by. I am totally overwhelmed by everybody's response to what has gone on over the last 2 years, or what's going on over the last 2 weeks, I really meant to say. First of all, I thank the Fighters Only magazine. They give me a Lifetime Achievement Award, which now, is probably the most memorable award I've ever gotten. And, a couple of weeks later, I'm no longer with the UFC, which I will say was my decision.
It was your decision to leave.
Yes, it was.
Why did you do that? Why did you make that decision?
Well, it's a thing where I've been on a walk to the ring and to the cage over the past 30 years, baby. I know how to get in there. I know how to get out, and I've always walked the walk to put guys in and out of there. And I feel really good about what I do and how I do it, and very confident. Do you want to say cocky? I'm confident to a point that, if somebody steps to me with a question of my integrity or a question of my work ethics or what I did or what I didn't do wrong, I think they should be right. If you step to me, you're going to be right, because I'm going to come back at you if I feel I'm right. That's just the person that I am, and that's just my personality.
But did something happen in particular at UFC 184, or was this a buildup of things?
It was not a buildup of things. It's like, there are two things in life that you follow. There's a plan and a decision. A plan is something you think about and you have to prepare for, and you can change it. A decision are things that are made at the spur of the moment. And a decision is something that's made that you can't change. If it happens and it comes to you, you can't change. I didn't plan not to be with the UFC sitting here now with that show in Dallas. I didn't plan that. But something happened, the night of the weigh-in. Someone approached me with something that they thought was not done properly, and totally I didn't understand it. It totally was unprovoked. And when I was approached with it, did I handle it properly and my response properly? Could I have thought about it and cooler heads could have prevailed? Probably. But you know what? I sleep every night, baby. I am very proud of what I do and the work that I produce. I am very proud of my relationship with the fighters and their camps. I got a family. I got a wife. I got a mom. I got kids, grandkids, siblings. My grandkids now are all over the internet. They're all over, Twitter and MySpace and just about everything. And all of my years, my family's been very proud of the accomplishments I've made. And they've become affected by my accomplishments and my decisions. I'm proud of my work during my era with Joe Frazier. I'm very, very proud of my work during my 14-year era with the UFC. And my family and everybody around me has become affected. Taking that to my extended family, being all the fighters in their camps. You know, when this happened, I knew it was a decision that I made. And I didn't plan to sit on, on the radio or in media and talk about it or had anything bad to say. But as I said, my family is close to me. My extended family, being the fighters in the camps, I started reading things and hearing things that, there was blame being thrown in their direction, which was unfair. I've never had a problem with a fighter in camps. I had one verbal confrontation with a guy maybe 9 or 10 years ago, and we addressed it right then and there. And that was the end of it. And I've never had one since. But when I started hearing on social media and other media outlets that, fighters were being thrown in the mix, and that's because no one said anything, and they didn't hear anything from me.
Yeah.
So with that response, then I decided to respond.
So can you shed light, because this will continue until you actually tell us what happened? And it's not like I'm trying to, get the dirt, so to speak, but I keep being asked, well, what exactly happened? Because even now, I mean, let's be honest, you're kind of beating around the bush, right? What happened to lead to your decision, as you put it?
You're not beating around the bush, Paul. You're being you, and you're doing just what you're supposed to do. There was a situation where one of the fighters that didn't make weight was sent back to the weigh-in area where I was waiting. And I waited for the fighter for about an hour. And finally, when I got the fighter back and put him on the scale, I was satisfied because he made weight. Now, keep in mind that the arena was 10 minutes away from the hotel. So as normal, as I normally do, I have my guys and someone take the fighter in the camp back to the hotel. Well, somewhere between me making sure that fighter made weight and getting back to the hotel, there was somehow, and I really don't know, that supposedly the fighter didn't have a way back to the hotel, which still, I can't tell you because I don't know. Well, I would say maybe an hour later, someone approached me to address that. And they approached me about it wrongly. Because I knew, number one, that I had just seen the fighter. He had just made weight. And, ultimately, we were close enough to make sure that everyone got back from the arena. So I was kind of caught off guard with that. I was approached, and it was not in a proper manner. At least I didn't think I was approached in a proper manner. And I was questioned about my work, about the way I handled things. And that's the way I felt. And quite honestly, I didn't appreciate it. I didn't approve of it. And I knew, number one, that the fighter was safe. He was not in any type of detriment. And I knew that it was a done deal. That's what happened, baby.
Was this by a colleague, a Zuffa employee, or was this by a camp member or something like that?
Well, for me to react the way I did, it had to be someone of authority or someone of a position to listen or to even approach me with such a thing.
Yeah.
And I'll say right now, I'll go on record, I've never had a problem with Dana White, Lorenzo Fertitta, Donna Marcolini. As far as I know, with the remaining members of the Zuffa staff, everybody, we all worked together as a team. Everybody did what they had to do at a very high level, at a very fast level. Everyone knows how many fights we did. So the process was put in place for me. First and foremost for me is the health and safety of the fighters. And I lived, ate, breathed, and I slept that. And I did that. And I did it the way I knew how and the way that I saw it work. So when that was questioned, and again, it had to be someone of authority, and I'm not going to mention the name because that person still has to work. That person has a family and still has to go on. And this thing has taken a life that's bigger than me and him.
Mm.
So I'm not going to do that. But at the same time, I will say to you, I stand on my convictions when I say my work speaks for itself, my commitment to the fighters, my commitment to the camps, my commitment to what I know or what I feel should be done, my commitment to my family, all those things I think I've done. And the only support right now I want or I hope to get is to keep the fans that I've seen or I've heard within the past couple of weeks, to keep the support of the fighters, to know that I am a person, you know what, I can mess with you. I'm not going to let anybody else mess with you.
Hmm.
My legacy, baby, is something I've worked on for 66 years. And I worked on it hard. And it became very easy because I live right. So it wasn't a hard thing for me to do. I didn't question myself. I didn't have time to question myself. I didn't question the people and the things that were going on around me because things were moving so fast. Just like I said to you, I'm overwhelmed with the response I've gotten right now, the response from the situation that has gone on, because I was moving so fast, I didn't have time to realize how many people I had touched or how many people that were being touched by things that I do and everything that's being done around me.
And I'm going to get to that in a bit, but I just want to get a few more details out of the way. If memory serves me correct, only one fighter missed weight. So was it Mark Munoz?
Yeah, Mark made weight. Yes, he was the fighter that
who had to come back and weigh in.
Huh?
He's the one that had to come back, is what I meant.
That's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. And he came back and he made it.
Have you cleared the air?
I started hearing rumors.
Go ahead.
You know that it was a blow up with Mike Munoz. I heard that it was a blow up with Ronda Rousey, not Ronda herself, but Ronda's camp.
Yeah.
And a couple of others. When I started hearing that, Ariel, I said, you know what? I need to address that because these guys, I lived for these guys. I loved for those guys for 14 years. So, when I see them being disturbed about something, then I figured I needed to put some kind of a lid on top of it because I don't want them to be blamed for something they had nothing to do with.
So it was the Mark Munoz situation only. Nothing else happened. No Ronda. No, nothing else. It was just that situation. Someone approached you. You didn't like the way they approached you. You felt disrespected. You were upset, and that's what led to it all. Is that accurate?
Yes, sir. It is.
Now
it had absolutely nothing to do with anyone else, any other fighter, any other camp members. I made it a habit that doing my work. It wasn't a secret. People knew that I drink Grand Marnier and I have a little shot of Heineken every now and then. But I made it my business to handle my business and conduct my business professionally, and in a sense of responsibility for the fighters in the camps. I made sure they got to where they were supposed to be. They got back, and when they got back, Burt Watson was done.
Mm.
I was in bed. I was gone because I know I had to move the next day. And I did. And that's the way I lived my life, and that's the way I live my life now, baby. I'm not ashamed, nor am I regretful with the way that I handled my job and my position and my loyalty to those fighters, those camps, the UFC, and anybody else that expected loyalty from me.
Did you ever have any kind of issue with Mark that someone might think, oh, you're singling him out, that's why you did this, et cetera, et cetera? Was there any kind of issue? And have you cleared the air with him now so that he does? I saw him tweet, about you, and it was all very positive. Have you at least cleared the air with him before you left or after the fact?
I spoke to Mark after the fact.
Okay.
Because as I said, when I started to read, I've gotten into social media, man. The last year I was having a good time, and I'm still having a good time with social media.
Sure.
And when I saw that, and I communicate personally with a lot of the fighters.
Yeah.
You know, after a fight, you know, one of my first phone calls, how you doing, baby? If he went to the hospital, that's definitely a first phone call. You know, if I knew there was any type of injury or someone got knocked out or was very disappointed, you know, after a fight, my first phone call. Or I made sure I stayed around to see him leave. So I contacted Mark, who I could tell from his text because I know that kid. You know, I know that he takes everything to heart, and I know that, you know, it's his life. And he reached out to me in a text, and I called him back just to let him know that, you know, I have no qualms with you, baby, and that's exactly the way I said it.
By the way,
we've talked and we've communicated, and I let him know, and he let me know apologetically, which was no reason for him to apologize, because this was done afterwards, and you know, the word that it got now was a word that I had no idea of.
By the way, out of curiosity, how did he get back to the hotel?
He got. My understanding is that I left a couple of vans with fighter relations guys to bring the guys back to the hotel, and I know that a couple of his camps had bags in the van that brought him there. So that van that brought him there, I personally sent them back to get him from the weigh-in site.
And then he just went back. So do you have any? I mean, now that the dust has settled, do you have any idea why there was this confrontation of sorts? Like, what was the big issue? Why would it lead to that? I mean, I know people work and it gets tense, whatever.
Right.
But was that? Can you see why this? I mean, can you put yourself in the other person who you were talking to's shoes and understand why they approached you the way they did, or was it completely uncalled for in your opinion?
I don't say that it was uncalled for, because, you know, it's like anything. When a story starts or things are being said, by the time it gets from the first person to the 10th person, it's something different. So I don't know, and I know that's very. I've had guys that would come downstairs to leave for a fight or something, and decide he had to go to the bathroom, and he'd go back upstairs, and I'd fill the vehicle and put somebody else in, and this fighter would come downstairs, and he'd be upset.
Right.
But he left. So how that happened, or how it got or escalated to a point that I got a phone call and somebody spoke that way to me, I don't know. But I will say that, you know, the distance that we had between the hotel and the site, and honestly, if it was a half an hour, I probably would not have walked out of the arena after he made weight, you know, even though leaving him there with the commission and everybody else, you know. So how it escalated and got to that point, I don't know.
So you left Friday night, right? You didn't stick around for the event.
I didn't go to the event, but no, I didn't leave until, when did I leave? Sunday.
Oh, wow. So
there was bad weather.
Okay.
Flights were, even that night, flights were booked out and delayed. And, you know, I had a flight scheduled for early Sunday morning. Was it Sunday morning?
Maybe.
I had a flight scheduled for that.
Okay.
Sunday morning. But then, you know what? Sunday morning, all the flights got canceled.
Right. But
so
then
I actually ended up staying in L.A. until Monday at 6:25.
What was that like for you, being in L.A., the event just a few blocks away, and you weren't there? I mean, you know, I can't imagine what that was like.
Well, being that was the first time that ever happened, I mean, it was kind of surreal.
Yeah.
You know, and I was a little reeling from the events of how it unfolded and what had happened, you know, but I also realized, again, when you make decisions are things that are made either at the spur of the moment, sometimes out of desperation, or sometimes on a whim. You know, you back up and you realize decisions, or maybe you could have made another decision, or cooler heads could have prevailed. But, it was a done situation. It was done, and that was the first time that I'd ever been that close to an event and not attended.
So after your argument of sorts, you told your superior, said, "I'm done. That's it." Did anyone try to convince you? Cooler heads prevail. I mean, you're such an integral part, and you're part of the fabric of the UFC. I mean, we'll get to the reaction in a second, but did anyone try to convince you to think twice here? You have been there for 14 years. Why let one incident end all of that?
No one. Well, let me rephrase that. Yes, there were a couple of people that I've worked with, or people that just kind of knew that next day, or knew that day that I wasn't going to be there for the event, that weren't happy or didn't understand, or a little sad. But I'll say this: the person that I had the disagreement with, it was him and I. And quite honestly, I said what I said. I felt I was inappropriately approached, and I reacted. And I honestly didn't feel or know it probably would not have been a real comfortable situation that night for me to be there.
So where'd you go?
I went to the hotel.
Okay, and you just stayed there.
I stayed. Actually, I was trying to get out, and I was hoping that maybe my flight that I was supposed to get the next day at 6, the next day, at 11, I could have gotten that night. So I actually went to the airport, and the flights were all canceled, so I stayed out at the airport.
So, you actually stayed at the airport, but then you went back, right? Because you had to leave a couple of days later.
That's correct.
Yeah. But no, like you mentioned Donna, Lorenzo. You didn't have a conversation with any of them?
I had a conversation with Donna the next morning because that person called her and told her of what happened between the two of us and what I said to him. And she approached me. And, honestly, this business goes on.
Yeah.
This business is prepared, and any business. When you lose a cog in the wheel, you go on. And over the past 8 or 9 years, we've been in transition, or 7 years in transition, moving around from different place to place, and a lot of fighter relations guys were put in place. And I've been teaching and working with them, because there would have been times that I wouldn't have been able to make an event if it's on the same day or the day after on different parts of the world. So, the team was prepared to run if that happened. It wasn't prepared for that specifically,
sure, but
they were good enough to go on, and it would have gone on. It goes on. Stuff goes on. It continues. But it goes on, and I know that.
As we sit here around, 9 or so days later, do you not regret it at all? Do you not feel like, you know what, maybe I should have just taken a breath, moved on. I loved my job. It was a big part of who I was. It was great. It was fun, all that stuff. Maybe I shouldn't have taken it so personally. Do you not regret your decision to leave at all?
You can't take it personally, Ariel. You can't. I can't afford to take it personally. When I take things personally, I become ineffective. When I take things personally in that way, it really, really hinders the decision-making process. And that's probably what happened the other night.
Okay.
Taking it real personal.
Yeah.
So no, I can't afford to. Like I said, I've got families, I've got grandkids relying on me. I mean, so many other parts of me that have to keep moving, that I have to keep moving. Could cooler heads have prevailed? Probably. My life has been so evolved in the UFC over the last 14 years, and I've got so much UFC around me. If I sat now and regretted and moaned and kind of tried to hatch it over within myself, I'd be one sick puppy, baby. And I can't afford to do that because, honestly, my mind and my skills have only gotten better over the years. They've only gotten better because I only knew one way to do it. Does my body get tired? Yes. Hell yeah. That happens. You know, when you work a lot and you work hard, that happens. But, you know, I've got too many other personal things going on in my life right now to say, you know what, I'm going to go in a room and sulk because I think I made the wrong decision. That's not happening. Because there was more than one person in that situation.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take the brunt of it. I'm not going to take all of the weight on myself to think, well, maybe I made the wrong decision. Let me try to rectify that.
Have you talked to that person?
No, and I don't ever plan to.
Okay.
No, not at all. And it's a done situation, you know, and you respect the process. You respect the system, you know, and sometimes before you make certain decisions, respect the creator of the system. You know, there's a reason why a person or a mother would leave her cubs in a cave. She's got to go find some food, baby. But she comes back. If you go in there and you see them cubs in there by themselves, you know what? She's either out getting food, hunting for the kill, or she's dead. But she didn't just leave them cubs just to be leaving them.
Right.
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does, especially when comparing it to this situation. So,
and that was an accident. I didn't really mean to compare it like that. But, you know, no. I have to mentally go on and continue with my life as it is for me. You know, I'm not a young man. So, you know, if I were 35 or 40 years old and had to say, oh, what am I going to do now? I can't say that, baby. I have to go on and I have to continue. Whether I do it in a venue, in an arena, or I do it from my house on the phone, I still got to do it.
You mentioned,
I still have to continue.
You mentioned your
age. I still have to go on.
You're 66, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you think this decision is easier? Because, I mean, it's amazing. When I see you at all these events, you know, you'd be one of the constant, almost going to every single one now. The UFC is doing around 48 all over the world. It's amazing. Sometimes you wouldn't go home for 5 or so weeks. Do you think this decision is easier because maybe, you know, physically you hit a wall? That's a lot of travel for anyone, 66 or 36. Do you feel like now with the increased schedule that maybe you kind of had enough?
No. If I had enough, I would have had enough. I mean, there were stretches there, baby, when I did 8 shows in 10 weeks, or seriously, I mean, I may be stretching that number a little. I know I've done 6 straight, and I conditioned myself. I lived right. When I was hungry, I ate. When I was tired, I slept. When I needed a drink, I did that. But I rested. The worst part for me was coming home and leaving home.
Yeah.
But when I was on the road, I was good. No, so I won't say none of that played into it. But physically, if I was to say to you anything I could put my hand on that probably could have said, you know what, whew, that would be me saying, you know, I think I need 2 weeks now instead of 1. But other than that, no. I love what I do, baby. I love it, and I love to try to master what I do and how I do it, and my loyalty. Now, am I a little flip-lipped sometimes? Yes. Am I a little flip with the words that might come out of my mouth? Do I choose them carefully? Not all the time. No. But, you know, when you live right, or you're not having to have to, you can get yourself out of the truth quicker than you can a lie. Real easy. So I've never been really one concerned or worried or worried about the amount of travel. I didn't think about, because what you think about, you bring about.
Right.
I didn't think about the traveling and the running around. I was committed to getting the job done. I was committed to working and getting paid.
Sure.
I was committed to that.
Do you think you're done doing this? Or, you know, if someone boxing, you know, you have a great history in boxing, another MMA promotion, do you still want to work in combat sports? Do you still want to do this job, or are you done?
I don't want to do it at that level, at the pace that I was doing and not realizing as I was going through it. Do I still want to? Right now, I want to take a little rest.
Okay.
I want to get my family situated. I want to get my personal stuff in order, and personal being my family, plain and simple, because they go as I go. You know, I can do what I do from a phone. I'm a teacher. I'm always going to want to teach people and teach young men and young women how to survive by yourself, how to make things happen, how to coordinate things, how to commit yourself, how to be on time, you know, the consequences of being late, how important it is that you don't mess up your name and your credit. My grandson is in his first year at Yale, and that's the first thing I stamped on him. Don't ever, son, mess up your name and your credit. And he looked at me. Now he can see.
You know, Burt, the reaction to the news, like I said earlier, was unimaginable. It was amazing looking at that tweet and then the responses to the tweet.
Wow.
Mind-blowing, right? I mean, I've never seen something like that. And I'm wondering, did you have any idea you were that liked? Did you have any idea you touched so many people? I mean, you know, along the way, I mean, people speak very highly. You got the awards. But did you know it was on that level?
No, sir.
Honestly.
Not because I never had a problem.
Sure.
Or never had to react to anything real negative. So, you know, when we did events and fighters are running around all over the place, and you guys are looking for them or what, I don't chase those fighters down because I know where that comfort level is. You know, I embrace them to make sure that they still continue to get what, because they still had to cut weight. They still had to do what they had to do to take that walk with me to that octagon. And the same thing for the camps. But did I know I had touched so many people? I swear to you, I had no idea. And if anything caught me off guard was the response that I've gotten and the phone calls I'm getting, you know. And the first day, honestly, I didn't answer the phone.
Yeah.
I didn't, because I knew my head wasn't there, and I also did not want to react in the wrong way or the wrong manner. Now, you know, a couple of days, I'm okay. And you know something? I can honestly tell you, sometimes when you're upset and you say things, you probably don't remember some of the things you said. But you scratch your head and you know you said something wrong to somebody, or somebody said something wrong to you. And I'll tell you this. What I do and in my world, somebody had to step in my world for me to touch them. Not vice versa, because I don't step outside my world. I will never take your microphone and try to interview somebody. Because I can't do that. That's not my world. Or try to put up lights and rigs. I know how to do that, but, you know, no, it's not my world.
Burt, I want to add to that. Earlier, before we went on the air, I called up a few UFC luminaries, let's call them that. And I wanted to hear their thoughts about you, and I wanted them to perhaps send you some well wishes. And we put those clips together, and I want to play it for you right now, okay?
You gonna get me mushy or mad?
No, let's hear it. Here are a few very familiar names and voices from around the UFC wishing Burt Watson well. Here we go.
Hello, Burt, Mr. Watson. This is David the Crow Loiseau. I just want to wish you a happy retirement. You know, just I wish you all the best. You're the man. You made the UFC experience for all the fighters. You made it so safe and amazing. So you're the man. I wish you all the best. And keep in touch, my man. Peace.
Hey, Burt, Brian Stan. My career would not have been the same without you. From the WEC to the UFC, you made every single fight I had special. Any little thing I could have ever needed, you provided. And most importantly, after my biggest wins, you were there to keep me level-headed. And after my biggest losses, you were there to pick me back up. And I cannot give you enough appreciation for everything you've done for me and for all my peers in fighting. I wish you the best of luck in retirement. I hope you enjoy those beautiful grandchildren of yours. And I hope to stay in touch. Please call me if you ever need anything, and I'm definitely going to be reaching out to you just to hear that voice and still find out if you're rolling, brother. Take care. Bye.
Hey, Burt. It's Matt Mitrione. Hey, man, I'm so sad to see you go. It's really one of the things that I look forward to most is being around you and hearing your voice. And you know all my rituals and routines and everything else. You're the only person I've ever fought with the guidance of. And it's going to be really rough to see you go, man. I wish you the best, and I hope that I get to be around you at some point in time again, buddy.
Hey, Burt, what's going on, man? In D.C., Daniel Cormier. I just want to tell you good luck in the future. Know that from the guy that starts the fight night to the boy in the main event, we'll all miss you. We've all made that walk, and having you a part of it has been so special. But for me, it's not what's happening inside of the arena before I step to the octagon. I'm going to miss the conversations. I'm going to miss talking about Smoking Joe Frazier and just building the relationship that I feel you and I have built over the years. Good luck, Burt. We're going to miss you, and hope to see you soon.
Hey, Burt, this is CM Punk, and selfishly, I'm sad to see you go. I wish I could have spent more time independently and in a large group of people. You were always somebody who lit up the room. I'm going to miss you. Even the limited time I've been backstage with you, I certainly hope whoever replaces you has the musical taste and is as fun to be around. I'm going to miss you, buddy.
Hey, Burt, it's Tim Kennedy, and, it's been an honor and a privilege having the opportunity to work with you. Your reputation, led the way when I got there. I'd only got to work with you for, a year and a half, and it was such an honor. It was an experience every time I got to fight, hearing your voice resonate down the hall. You're going to be missed. Anywhere that you go, you're going to be successful, and I can't wait to see where that is, and hopefully our paths will cross again. I just wish you well.
Hey, what's going on, Burt? This is Chris Whiteman, your best friend. Just want to let you know, man, really appreciate everything you've done for us as fighters. Forget about, coming up with different stories that, that I've experienced with you, because there's too many to bring up. But the way you would make each one of us feel when we come in, for the first time we're checking our weight, you make each one of us feel special. And I know it goes to every other UFC fighter. We all felt we were so respected from you, so respected by you, and more than anybody else. So really appreciate everything you've ever done for us, and I hope you get to enjoy your family.
Hey, Burt, it's your old buddy Matt Serra. Hey, man, listen, things are never going to be the same without you there. I already miss you. I love into the events and seeing you, getting greeted with a hug, and you're just a great dude, man. You're always there for me, and not only me when I was fighting, but for my guys, and I really appreciate it, and I hope we stay in touch. All my best.
Hey, Burt, this is Kenny Florian. I just want to thank you for everything you've done for the UFC, and for being a great friend, and for being the guy who was there for every single one of my fights, and making me feel like I was the only dude fighting on the card, and that really is real. Every single time I was there, you were there to greet me and make me feel good and make me feel comfortable, weighing in and the whole process, and always a true gentleman to myself and my camp. And I just want to thank you for, the many years of service that you've done, for me and my camp, and you will be greatly missed for sure. And you're a great friend, and thank you for always making me feel special for every single one of my fights.
Hey, Bert, it's Big Luke here, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for everything you've done for all the fighters across the years you've been with the company, and making me feel special every single time I turn up at fight week, and turning such a troublesome and hard time of cutting weight into a joyful one. And, I wish you all the best, and I hope you look after yourself from going forward and your family.
Hey, Bert, this is Sarah Kaufman. Everyone's going to miss you so much. I can't thank you enough for everything that you've done for me and every fighter out there. You're an integral part of what I've known the UFC to be, even with Strikeforce. Always being positive, being ready, the enthusiasm you show to each and every fighter is unparalleled. No one will be able to match that. I will miss having you telling me to get going, telling me we rolling. You're just an incredible person all around, and I just want to thank you for the support that you've given to me and everyone else.
Hey, Bert, Ian McCall here. Just want to say thank you for all your years of service and making the UFC what it is, and making our lives as fighters that much better and easier. You've always been a light at the end of the tunnel of this sport, and we thank you for it. Love you, man.
What do you think, Bert? That's pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, man, that's I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say. But, it's that's like I got caught off guard with that Lifetime Achievement Award. I was a little speechless. I'm even more so now, and that's the toughest part. And it was because of them and for them that I'm sitting here now talking to you, and I know that someone may take some of these things and put the wrong twist on it, but you know what? I'm talking to you from my heart, and I'm coming to you like I do everybody else, baby, on the real tip. And I don't regret anything I've done to this point.
I think what's most amazing about it is that fighters are a fraternity, and I can never be a part of that. They'll never allow me to be a part of it. I don't want to be a part of it. I can't be a part of it. I haven't done and been through what they have been through. But you are a part of that fraternity. They included you. They don't feel the same without you. They feel like you are a part of the show. It is a part of one's checklist. When they make it to the big dance, they have to hear your voice. And I've heard people say that they get paralyzed with fear. It's an amazing moment to hear that voice call them out to battle. And from what I heard from a lot of people is that it'll never be the same because they won't hear that checklist will not be there anymore to be checked off. And for them to include you as part of that fraternity seems, at least to me, like the ultimate compliment. For fighters, these alpha males and females, to do that for someone who didn't fight, who they didn't share the cage with, it's a pretty amazing thing. It's a mind-blowing thing. And anyhow, we could have talked to all 500 fighters on the roster, but I just wanted to give you a taste of that and let you know that you are beloved, you are missed, and it won't be the same without you. And even for someone like me, you were always very nice from day one, shaking my hand, saying hello, asking me how I was, even when you're very busy and I could see you're looking kind of past me. You always went out of your way, and that means a lot. You always made everyone feel very special, and that means the world to everyone. So thank you for that.
What has happened was not the face of what I would have wanted as an end of my 14-year career.
Right.
But, it's like I'm a hood rat with an education. In the streets, if you beat me once, you're going to always have in your head that you can beat me again. If you beat me down and I let you, and I come back, you know what? You're going to beat me till I leave. Because you got in your head, I can beat you. And that's just the way life is. I don't ever want to stop teaching. I don't ever want to stop touching. And I don't ever want people to stop wanting me to teach them and stop touching them. I don't ever want that. And as much as I can stay with these fans, with all the people that have shown me all of this love and support, you know, I'm believe me, I am not going to just drop off the face of the earth. At all. That's not going to happen. And if I do, you're going to hear me on the way down because I'll be rolling right.
Okay, last question. If this is the end, if you're not a part of the UFC anymore, who knows what can happen in the future? You know, crazy things have happened. What's one memory that sticks out? Is there one moment, one time, one memory, something, one interaction that is your favorite?
Probably what you gave me just now.
Oh, come on. I don't believe that.
I can't, honestly, I can't sit and think of what has been my favorite moment, because I've had 14 years of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not just putting a skirt on it. You know, I will say this to you. I've had situations where guys have walked and told me things that I look at them and I'm like, now what the heck am I supposed to do with that information? Okay? And I had to keep it in my head until they did it themselves. And sometimes I walked around with that for a month or 2 months. Now, I'm sure you can put a lot of that together. That happened to me 3 times. That they walked away from me and said, and I'm like, whew, now what do I do with that? And I had to keep it. But, you know, other than that, what you gave me just now, because that's the first time I've ever had all of them in one group like that. And those were some pretty key people you just spoke to. I can't answer that. That's the only way I can answer that.
Fair enough. I'm getting a few people on Twitter asking me if they can get one more We Rollin'. Can we get one more? I don't think this is the end, but can we get one more?
Well, I'll tell you what. Oh, thanks for that segue. If anybody goes to BurtWatsonForReal.com, I'm going to stay on that. When you turn that on, that's the first thing you hear is We Rollin'. When you go to BurtWatsonForReal.com, that's the first thing you'll hear. And you know what? That was my night, my fight. You better get it right. And I'll tell you one more time, baby. It's time to go to work. It's time to go to work. And you know what that means when it's time to go to work? We rollin'! Yeah! All night long.
Amazing. Thank you, Burt. A pleasure
You're
as
welcome,
always.
baby.
I know this isn't the last time, but thank you so much for coming on the show.
The pleasure is mine, and I'm going to come back at you when I need you.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you, sir.
There he is. Burt Watson, everyone. How about that? You felt it in his voice right there with the re-rolling. Wow. That was intense. But we wish him the best, and I'll say it again. From the first time I was ever backstage, if you have ever been backstage, you know that he keeps that train moving along at an unbelievable pace. And when a fighter is about to walk out, when you see him on TV for the first time, and the look on their face, they are going to battle. The one who gets that, who turns them into what you see, who turns that switch on, is Burt Watson. It is not the same. Ask any fighter. When it's someone else doing it, if he doesn't do it, it's not the same. He turns that on. He makes them turn into from the regular guy into the fighter, and they wait for that. It's almost like a Pavlov thing. Fighters have told me, the toughest men and women in the world have told me that they have become paralyzed with fear. It's a jarring moment, but it's a part of the moment. It's a part of what they strive for. It's a part of what they dream of. And to be backstage and witness that time and again is something that I am very grateful for, and always grateful that, you know, he was always so very nice. There are some people who just walk by you, who don't say anything. They don't like you. You're media. You kind of annoy them. Burt Watson, no matter where we were, hotel, backstage, no matter what, always treated everyone with the utmost respect. Huge smile, baby, all that stuff. Great handshake. Just an amazing personality, part of the fabric of the UFC. And of course, as he said, the UFC goes on. It's a huge organization. It's a promotion. He has groomed a lot of people. I know some of them well. I have no doubt that they could step up to the plate and keep this train moving along. But a big part of it is not a part of it anymore. And I think for a lot of fighters that's sad, but these things happen all the time and in the real world, and the show must go on. And I think the first one who would recognize that is Burt Watson. When he made that decision, I think he recognized that. So we thank him, we wish him well. And I noticed some fighters mentioning the R word, retirement. I'm not so sure Burt Watson is retiring just yet. I feel like he has a few other things up his sleeve. We'll see. For now, we wish him the best and hope he enjoys his time off. And thank you so much to those fighters who took some time out of their day, some on the West Coast. I bothered them to do it, but that came together great. And thanks to New York Rick for putting it all together. That was a lot of fun to do, and I'm so happy that he appreciated it and enjoyed it. Thanks a lot to them. Great. That's again another example. Could you call up 15 NBA players randomly and ask them to do something like that? You can't. MMA fighters are one of a kind. They are truly the best people that I've ever been around. Amazing human beings. Thoughtful, down to earth. You could see how much, would NFL players treat someone in Burt's position with the same kind of respect, love, admiration that these fighters do? Just my opinion, I don't think they do. I don't think they would. MMA fighters are the best. And that's what I love more than anything about this sport. Not the punches to the face and all that stuff. Not the kicks, not the violence. Those people are amazing to be around. It is a privilege.
Tomorrow night, it will get buck wild up in here.